Welcome to an interview edition of Crypto News. My name is Nick Hellman.
I'm Matt Beasley.
I'm Todd Butterfield.
We got a special guest today, Josiah Spackman from the Digibyte Foundation. He's actually the New Zealand DGB ambassador. How are you doing today?
Yeah, good guys, good. It's nice and early in the morning here, but we're alive.
Perfect. I guess I would just start off if you want to kind of give a brief bio of yourself, maybe how you got into cryptos, and maybe why you chose Digibyte out of all the cryptos in this ecosystem to really spend your time on.
Yeah, so I got started back in 2014, end of 2013. I was mining Bitcoin. Like a lot of people, I kind of heard of the idea of printing free money sort of thing, and that really appealed to me, obviously. And so I got these couple of graphics cards, and I started mining, and that was right around the time that ASIC miners came out, and so I think it was about 3 days, and I managed to mine 0.1 of a Bitcoin back when it was worth about $20. And so I'm kind of looking at this, doing the math in my head, going $2 after 3 days. Like that's terrible. I should have kept doing it.
Yeah,
though, right? Like look at the price today.
$1,000.
Yeah, hey, you learn, right? So that got me started. Anyway, after that, we moved on to Litecoin, and I saw a bit about Litecoin, and it was looking like it was ASIC resistant, and I'm thinking this is cool. But then about a month later, I think I first started mining Digibyte back in March of 2013. I found my very first block that I mined the other day, which was quite cool. But a nostalgia going back all the way through the Block Explorer, and yeah, it was really cool. Basically, I looked at what these guys were doing, and they're basically going, well, Litecoin is doing this with the timings, but we're going even faster, not just 2.5 minutes, but 30 seconds. And I'm thinking, that makes sense. This looks good, and so I followed it along through things like the DigiSpeed hard fork and stuff, and yeah, it's been an absolute crazy ride. And then they invited me to be part of the foundation last year in November, so that was quite the privilege as well. Yeah.
Awesome. So you guys did actually fork from Litecoin January of 2014, I believe. What would you say kind of separates you guys from what Litecoin is doing technically, on a technical level?
On a technical level, so basically ever since the original fork, Litecoin has kind of stayed the same. They haven't really changed a lot in terms of, I think the only thing that they've done is SegWit, and they did that in May or June of last year. So we did that back in April. We were, I think aside from Grostal coin, we were the first coin to do SegWit. And so if we look at where Digibyte has gone compared to where Litecoin has gone, Litecoin's kind of, they've stayed the path, and that's cool. Like, don't get me wrong, especially if you look at what's been happening with the value of Litecoin. But we've been doing things from a more of both a security perspective and also from a speed perspective as well. So there have been a number of improvements over the years, and there will continue to be. We've got our fork later on this year, which is coming up to allow graphics card miners basically more for the security and the distribution of our mining network.
Perfect. And we'll get back to mining here in a second. But what I find interesting about Digibyte is that you guys have been around for about 4 years. You have a solid foundation and a solid team, yet you guys really seem to kind of lack the ability to gain a substantial market share here in the cryptocurrency space. In my opinion, I think that's based on maybe PR and marketing, and you guys really aren't getting that many payment channels to use the Digibyte. You guys working on anything this year to kind of get things going on that end?
Yeah, that's probably a pretty fair assumption as well. So if we look back historically at things, even last year, so especially towards the end of the year, I think we were getting added to an average of 2 exchanges a week for a while, and so just kind of bringing the ability to obtain and trade Digibyte to more people is certainly something that was being worked on. But especially now this year with our wallets, if you're going to be using it more in a retail situation, having a really good mobile wallet is absolutely key. And so that's what the team are working on. And as a result of having that, we're also going to find a lot more places where you can buy things with Digibyte, sell with Digibyte, and perform additional actions on top of the blockchain too.
Perfect. So getting back to the mining, I know you mentioned that you guys use like 5 algorithms kind of to build in the decentralization with what's going on over there at Digibyte. I think you guys have something like 200,000 current nodes, which is pretty impressive. Could you go into a little more detail on how the 5 algorithms are broken down and how that provides the decentralization that you guys are claiming to the network?
Yeah, that's a really good question, and I think it's often quite overlooked as well. So we've got the five different mining algorithms. We've got the SHA-256, which is from Bitcoin. We've got Scrypt from Litecoin, and then we've got three others: Crosstalk, Qubit, and Scheme. And so what we've been finding is as time progresses, like we've seen with both with SHA-256 and Scrypt, that ASIC miners come along that are able to mine it a lot more effectively than a graphics card. And so what we're doing is we're going to do this fork to split off and allow. We're probably going to swap out three of the algorithms at this stage. We're doing a little bit of research and analysis and review and things, obviously. And so they'll be replaced with other more GPU-friendly algorithms, possibly something like Equihash, maybe. People have also been suggesting CryptoNight. Who knows? So we'll see what happens. But with these five mining algorithms, let's say that you take the whole of the Litecoin network right now and you were to throw it at Digibyte, the additional hash power. So the way that the five mining algorithms work in conjunction with our DigiShield basically means that they might get a couple of blocks. They might get maybe, 2, 3, maybe 4 blocks in a row. But what you'll find is basically within a couple of blocks, they will basically be brought right back down to the same difficulty level and chance of finding a block as anybody else in the network. And then again, when they up and leave, we're not going to see what we saw with, like, say, Bitcoin Cash, where you're just not getting any transactions for a little while, or back in the day that actually killed off a bunch of coins back around sort of 2013, 2014. So the difficulty adjustment from having 5 mining algorithms is so underrated, and the security that provides is absolutely incredible.
Now, continuing kind of with the mining, I know you guys have a 21 billion total supply, and those are supposed to be mined out within 21 years of total existence. If you do the math on that, I know the inflation is pretty high on that. Are you doing anything, or does Digibyte have anything in mind really to combat that inflation, or are they just hoping more users come on into the ecosystem, which really helps provide stabilization and the value of each Digibyte itself?
Yeah, so you're right. We are going to be mining them all a lot faster than some of the other ones, but I think that when we have that kind of a coin cap there of 21 billion versus the 21 million of Bitcoin, so it's an intentional 1,000-to-1 ratio there, and it really lends itself to not just having Digibyte used as a transactional currency or a store of value or anything along those lines, but also allows us to do additional things like to do security on top of the blockchain, or to do a whole lot of other, like, really cool decentralized applications and things. And so as a result of that, it's going to go even further. We're going to go even more worldwide. I've been talking with the team just this morning about some of the translations and things for our wallets, and how that's going to have an impact on people's ability to use Digibyte in their native language from all 4 corners of the globe.
Perfect. One more little negative thing before we get back to the positives here on Digibyte. You guys in the past have kind of got the reputation of maybe being a pump and dump or a scam coin along the lines. I know there was a lot of hype saying you guys were going to be integrated with Minecraft, League of Legends, maybe Nintendo. Also, you had McAfee talking about you as the coin of the day. I don't know if you want to go into little details what happened there historically and how you think maybe that happened not on your guys' end, but more just in the speculators and the investors in the space, and how you're kind of moving forward to make sure that you can build that reputation back up.
Yeah, man, it's so hilarious. We get people jumping into our Telegram group and like, "Hi guys, what's some upcoming news?" It's like, I know why you're here.
You want the red Lamborghini? That's what they want.
Yeah. But, like, I mean, that's totally cool. Like, I got nothing against day trading, so don't get me wrong. And I love the technical analysis charts that you guys do and things. It's absolutely awesome. But when you find people coming along literally just for, "Hey guys, win moon, like I want to buy in now. I want you to tell me some news is happening, and then I'm going to disappear." So what we're finding is that sort of thing happened last year around about when were we, like June, July? I think if you go back and you look at your charts, you'll see it happened both then and also towards the end of last year. But around the time, there was a bunch of stuff happening, like the City Tech for Integrity Challenge. And the name itself is kind of funny, Tech for Integrity, and then we've got people blaming us for being like a pump and dump group, right? Like
he won an award for being transparent, and then people are saying it was a pump and dump. Yeah, that's funny.
What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? But it's so yeah. Like at the time, it was also funny because there was a photo that started circulating. I don't know exactly where it came from, but Jared, I think he met some dude like outside of one of the Microsoft headquarters or offices, and it's basically just like him in the reception area. And I think he's got his arm around some dude or whatever. And anyway, this photo starts circulating. People are going, they're in bed with Microsoft. This is amazing. And just to clarify, that was never the intention, never the goal, right? But
that's funny.
But I think what we've also learned from this is that it's not just like things like the Minecraft server was a community-led initiative. Somebody wanted to be able to integrate Digibyte because there are so many Digibyte, and so you would be able to do things like when you mine, you can exchange your diamonds for Digibyte and things. But we found that people would then use skins that were transparent, so you can just basically dig straight down, find the diamond, and then trade that for Digibyte, and it didn't quite work out as well as we would have liked and things. But what we noticed though was that we didn't do enough to kind of stop people from spreading that misinformation, if you will. And so it was, it's one thing to say, look, we're decentralized blockchain. We have no kind of central point of authority, as it were. Like we can't all go to Vitalik and Vitalik's going to go, no, that's not what's happening. But at the same time, the onus kind of falls on both us, but also on everybody involved with the network to go, you know what, that's actually not what's happening over there. They're integrating with this, but it's not like the core project.
Yeah, it's not like it's actually creating a value proposition immediately for Digibyte. Yeah. And everybody was making it go 10x at the time or something like that. So I guess we're talking about hype and future or past hype. I did notice that Jared actually tweeted out something tagging the Oculus Rift. Something, I don't think it's a partnership or anything like that, but something about centralized certificates failing. Is there something that Digibyte is doing, one of their platforms, that can maybe help with that in the future? Is that kind of his angle on the Oculus Rift post, or what's going on there?
Yeah, that was kind of funny with Oculus. I think one of their SSL certificates expired or something, and like I've had that happen to me back in the day as well. You forget to renew a domain name sort of thing, and it's... Yeah, but so one of the things though that you can do is you could use the we're going to get into a little bit more with our Digi-ID and our identification and basically proving who you are in the blockchain, but without there's no passwords or anything. So you could use that eventually, perhaps to log into a website, for example. And so a bit of progression from that, as well as that you can use that for other things to replace those kind of certificates that you see with Oculus Rift and things, so that way you obviously don't have an outage that brings down your entire network for however long. Yeah. It's not something that we have right now that's being developed, but it is one of the multitude of possible applications that could happen on top of a blockchain such as Digibyte. So it's definitely something that has been looked into, but obviously in line with what we were just talking about, it's not something that we have that is being coded up right this second. So yeah.
And we're talking about some of the uses for Digibyte. You're talking about some of the platforms that might be in the works. I do know that David Hay, I'm sure some of the people who watch our channel watch David Hay's channel over on YouTube. He has some family over in Venezuela, and with the monetary problems that they're having down there, he wanted to start an ambitious project to help get cryptocurrency into the hands of 300,000 people and to give them 2 weeks worth of wages. And I noticed that you posted something over on Medium on why you thought Digibyte could be a good solution for those people. Do you want to kind of go into detail on some of the check marks that you think Digibyte might have, or maybe some of the logistics? Like, is that going to be donated from users in the community, or is there funds in the Digibyte Foundation that might be able to spur some things going on over there, or how's that going to work?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. I was actually on a Skype call with them yesterday morning, and you're right, like it's terrible what's happening over there with their wages and the worth of what they have. I mean, it kind of feels a little bit like if you've been invested in cryptocurrency for the last 6 weeks, right? Like you see your worth just going down. But so I saw his video. One of the members of our community linked me, and he goes, "Hey, dude, this is really cool. You should get in touch with David. I like what they're doing. He wants to bring cryptocurrency to the masses, and he wants to help out people. He wants to make a difference in Venezuela, where they've had such problems with hyperinflation." And so we get people pitching ideas to us all the time, and so I take it with a grain of salt, but I was curious because I'd seen the name before, and I know that he'd done some stuff with Digibyte, so I looked it up, and sure enough, I really really liked his idea. So we're going to see what we can do about helping them out. We might not specifically be the blockchain that ends up being chosen, but I went through after reaching out to him, and we emailed back and forth a couple of times, and we've since been talking a bit, but I wrote this nice long Medium post that basically details everything. So I started talking to him, and I thought, what are some of the things that are really going to matter if you're on the ground there in Venezuela? Like, what is going to be needed for you to be able to transact with somebody else on a daily basis and use your wallet? So obviously you're going to have a phone, you're going to have a data connection. But down there, their wages, I think it's something around the lines of $3 to $4 a month.
Yeah, I saw something like $3 a month, which is crazy.
That's insane, man. Like, I don't know about you, but I can barely buy a meal over here when I go out for like $3 or $4, right? Like,
that's not even going to fill me up on the dollar menu.
Yeah, exactly. You get Starbucks coffee, right? Like, you get one of the. Oh my goodness. But anyway, so I'm looking at this and I'm going, right. So $3 to $4 a month. So I think one of the main things that they've got is Dash, and so they've got like Dash and PivX are all putting forward like propositions and things to them. The problem that I saw though straight away was I'm looking at the transaction fees, and they were, even though they've come down by something like 10 times lately for Dash in particular, which is cool. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not bagging on that, but the fees are still going to be prohibitive for this kind of like a use case. And so we come back to the fact that there's a 1,000-to-1 ratio of Digibyte versus Bitcoin, and we look at it and we go, well, we can actually, if we look at the fees, an average fee would mean that somebody in Venezuela could do 100 transactions for a cent. And that's potentially doable. Whereas if you're doing one transaction, like if I'm an employer and I'm paying you in, let's say Dash, and it's going to cost me 6 cents or 30 cents to send that through to you, that's a whole day's worth of wages for me to make one transaction. And so I went through and I made this mental checklist, and I'm thinking to myself, there's got to be something that we can improve on, something that we can go through and we can work on now before push comes to shove, so that we're ready and things. And I'm going through this list. I'm going, all right, needs mobile wallet, tick, needs to be Spanish, tick, needs to be fast, tick, 15 seconds versus 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes, even 60 seconds, tick. And I'm going, this is really cool. I'm going through the list and I'm going, hey, we could actually, we're perfect here. And so I basically started writing this great big long Medium post going, you know what, we would actually be perfect. You could take Digibyte and you can send us into a nation like Venezuela, and this could actually really work. And so we've been so excited the last little while, and talking with David, and it's going to be an exciting ride. I'm super excited for it.
I think if you guys worked on getting integrated down there, I don't know if it had to be donated funds or foundation, because he wanted to provide 2 weeks of salary to those people to kind of get them back on their feet. I think that could be really helpful to boost the reputation back up for Digibyte, and then really show a good use case for Digibyte. And then maybe the value proposition comes down the line from that as well, just showing that, hey, this can be mass adopted, this can be used on the masses. But with that, do you think that you would fall into some scalability or throughput challenges on the blockchain? Or do you think Digibyte has what it takes to really be able to be mass adopted in the future?
Yeah, man, that's so good, because we get people saying to us all the time, look, we see you throwing around this 560 transactions per second number, but can you really do that on a blockchain? And we actually did. So we did some real world testing back in 2015 when we did our DigiSpeed hard fork. And so back in 2015, we actually tested. The internet was a lot slower back then. We didn't have quite so many 4K movies flying around the place. But even back then, we were still able to do these tests, right? And we did these real world tests over the internet and stuff. It used a ton of bandwidth and cost a buttload of money to do these like lab tests effectively over the internet. And we were able to make sure that that it worked, for example. The blocks were being propagated, that there was no major delay, and that this delay wasn't causing enough of an issue for the people that were mining it as well, which is, pretty big. And so we didn't want any additional centralization as a result of that. And so we did all of these tests, And we found, yeah, we can actually, with our scaling in place that happens through the Digispeed hard fork, we can actually get up to 280,000 transactions a second. We can do that on chain. We don't have to do any kind of sharding or lightning or anything at all. We can do it all on chain, and it all works. Like, it works really well. So I did a lot of people ask me, why aren't you on Twitter? Well, I'm really good at these off-the-cuff remarks and things. And so one of the things that I said was we could take all of the transactions from the top 50 coins in coinmarketcap.com, and we could do all of their transactions and not even break a sweat. And then someone said, have you actually done the numbers? And I thought, oh, man, now I've got to do the numbers and make sure that it's true because,
right.
we're
You're kind of just making a generic comment, but then somebody else is like, well, actually, you can only do 80% of them or something like that.
Exactly. And so, because I've done some rough guesses in my head based on what I know that, Bitcoin and Ethereum and stuff do, and so I was like, oh, I think we can. Actually, I'm pretty sure we can. So I did. I went back and did the numbers like a couple days ago, right? And I got a spreadsheet together. There were a couple that I couldn't find, and then there's a couple like, say, Tron that don't actually have a working coin at the moment, but I went through, and we can do 10 times the number of transactions per second than all of the top 50 combined.
Wow, that's pretty impressive.
And that's just today. So, like, if we have these villages, like, pop up, and they literally start using us left, right, and center, they can go for it, do their worst. It's gonna be totally fine. We can, we're built to handle this, and so it's really a testament to the foresight of the development team, and especially Jared back when Digibyte was in its earlier stages, to be able to look ahead and go, these are some of the issues we're going to come up against with the other major blockchains, and let's do something about it. And so he has, and the team have, and the development team is basically come up with something that will it's not going to be a problem.
So I got a couple more questions for you, and I think I know the answer to this question, but is there any projects or platforms that are currently being worked on by Digibyte right now that you're really excited for the future of Digibyte and kind of what's going on in the ecosystem?
Yeah, so one of the big things that really excites, I mean, aside from this whole Venezuela project, man, I'm so excited to see something like this, like real world cryptocurrency that has legs on it, and you're helping people, right? Like, you're helping a nation, so that's like, it's a win for cryptocurrency, and it's a win for the people of Venezuela. It'll genuinely improve their quality of life in a tangible way, so that's cool. But one of the things that I'm really excited for this year, I guess, is both the release of the wallets and also the integration of DigiID into those wallets. So DigiID is going to be a game changer from a security perspective for the internet and things. So a common thing that happens is, websites will get hacked, or you've got things like the PlayStation Network hack and things like that. And so what happens is the hackers will log in, and they'll get your username, they'll get your password, and if you've reused that password anywhere else, like, I don't know about you, but for the longest time I just had sort of 2 or 3 passwords that I just sort of cycle through.
Yep.
And it turns out that's not a clever idea when the website gets hacked, right? And so people have your password in plain text and your email address. So if you're reusing that anywhere else,
right,
goodbye online identity, right? They can log in as you. And so what DigiID is going to do, and this is why I'm so excited about it, is it's going to use the Digibyte blockchain to mean that when you go to log into a website, you basically just hit a button on your phone, or you scan a QR code, and that's it. So there's no password. And so what also that means is then, let's say something like this particular hack happens again with the PlayStation Network. You don't have a password that they can then take elsewhere. So if a company that you're a user of gets hacked, that's totally cool. It doesn't bother you in the slightest. They don't have your password. They can't go there and take it somewhere else. And so the security implications of that are huge. And it's going to then do a lot of things, like it's going to start decreasing spam. It's going to decrease things like identity theft. And so I'm so excited to see DigiID coming. And we're going to talk a bit more about that later on in the year. But yeah, we're getting these wallets out first and foremost with our MVP release, and then we'll look at adding that on sort of down the line.
Yeah, because I think the wallets are definitely most important to really have mass adoption. Everybody's got a smartphone nowadays, So I think doing that is important. Some of these other currencies that have been successful obviously have the wallets on mobile phones, have different use cases and different payment channels. So I think in that respect, Digibyte is making a good leap and bounds to try to move forward here in the future. Now, I guess the last thing is, if there was one major goal for 2018 for DGB, from Jared's perspective, he's the founder, this is kind of his baby, he's the main developer. Do you think that's more, for him, would it be maybe price or getting users on the network, or maybe is there a particular project that he really wants to succeed? In your opinion, what do you think would be a win for Digibyte by the end of the year 2018?
That's a really good question. So, I mean, I don't obviously like to speak on his behalf, but I know that if he was here, he would say he doesn't care about the price. Like, it can go up, it can go down, it doesn't bother him. He's dedicated to the project, and it doesn't matter if we see things happen like we've seen from January through to March now. Like, the price doesn't bother him, and to be honest, it doesn't really bother me either. I mean, you guys are great with all your technical analysis, and you see the charts, and you know that the price is going to do what the price wants to do. So if we get to the end of the year and the price hasn't changed for Digibyte, it's not a loss by our standards. But I think what would be really cool, though, is to see the adoption. And so what we've seen is obviously the focus towards the end of the year on getting on exchanges and things. We're going to see a bit more coming from us in terms of how to easily integrate like merchant services perhaps to Digibyte. We're getting some libraries and some documentation and things like that together to basically help people, so that if you want to accept your Digibyte, you can accept Digibyte for your services or products or anything at all. And so I think as well, especially in light of what's happening here with Venezuela, is it's really based. Yeah, we want to see more just general adoption, more cool things going on in the network, more cryptocurrency in the real world, with crypto with legs on it, basically. Because if we're able to do the transactions of the top 50 of coin market cap already, and still have room to grow, let's do it. We want to see that out there, people using it in their everyday lives and making a difference. So, if price goes up, price goes down, yeah, that's going to be unfortunate for some short-term investors and things like that. But we've been here since 2014. We've seen it go up, we've seen it go down, and we're here for the long run. So if things happen in the meantime, so be it. We're here more for the long-term vision.
Perfect. Well, I just want to thank you for coming on here, spending some time with us, giving us more of an inside look at Digibyte. For those of you who want more of a technical aspect of Digibyte, we did do a fundamental review over on one of our past live episodes. If you don't have time to watch the entire live episode, we did chop that up. We got about a 7-minute Digibyte fundamental analysis video over there as well. And if you have any questions that I might have missed in this interview, make sure to leave a comment in the comment section below, and maybe I can reach out to Joe over here, get his opinion on some of these questions. And Joe, I guess maybe once the wallets come out, we can have you back on here. Maybe we can do some kind of mobile transaction from your phone to my phone, or vice versa, and then we can kind of really see the transaction fees, the speed in real life time, and we can post that up to YouTube for people to view. And stay in touch with anything going on with Digibyte. And that's about it, guys. Thanks for tuning in.